you guys? If you're new here, hello! My name is Brittany, and in today's video, yes, I have a shirt on. I'm hella patriotic today, but I wanted to show you guys my new complexion routine because I keep saying in my videos like my routine is totally different than it used to be. So I really want to break everything down step by step and show you guys exactly how I do my complexion routine now. So you guys can see my brows and my eyes are already done. Basically, I saw Samantha Ravindell's video, the reverse foundation routine. I'll leave it up here if you guys want to go watch that. That's what really inspired me to change up my routine because I loved how her complexion looked. And then I also saw Tati's video with Scott Barnes. I'll also leave this one up here. That video is so good. I absolutely love Scott Barnes. I think he needs his own channel because I just love seeing him on YouTube. So between those two videos, I was just like, oh my God, my mind is blown, and I really perfected everything to really fit myself. So that's what we're gonna do today. We're just going to dive right in, and the first thing that I'm going to start with is primer. So the primer that I've been using a lot is the Tatcha Silk Canvas Primer. I don't always use a primer though. I don't feel like a primer is really necessary, and I do think there's a lot of foundations that honestly look good without a primer, but for the sake of today's video, I am going to use this one because this one is my current favorite. And I really like this one because it really fills in my pores for one, but then even on my under eyes, I really like how this makes my under eyes look because it just almost like blurs everything out. I just think it makes my skin look so nice. So I really focus this mainly in this area right here because this is where most of my large pores are. I put like a little bit on my nose because I do have pores there as well, and then I also bring it up between my brows and then just put it like right in the center of my forehead. And that's really the only places that I put primer. So right in my T-zone, and this is usually where I sweat the most as well. So I really just think that the more layers here, the more that it helps the longevity of my makeup. But like I said, I don't think a primer is necessary, but the Tatcha Silk Canvas one is my current favorite. And then again, I just push this like right up under my eyes. This is where I love this primer the most. So that's going to be it for primer. Now we'll move on to concealer. The one I've been loving so much is the Too Faced Born This Way. I've been loving this ever since it launched. I think I mentioned this in my like Best in Beauty 2018 video. I used to do like the full-blown triangles. Not no more. I just used to go way overboard with my concealer, and this is where I would normally go in with just my foundation. I would put like 2 pumps of foundation. Nope, not no more. We just go in and apply concealer to basically all of my imperfections, my under eyes. I do the center of my chin because Scott Barnes said to, and I do the center of my forehead just a little bit. And then this is going to be all that I use for my concealer. And then I don't know who the hell I think I am, but I've been using brushes so much. I don't really even use sponges anymore. So the brush that I'm going to use for my concealer is the Sigma Tapered Kabuki F86 brush. So I'm just going to take this brush and blend out my under eyes first. I don't know how some people like let this sit in their under eye. I've tried it a couple times and it just does not work for me. And then this is where I really like doing my like entire eye first because it really cleans up, because I tend to get like really smoky in my bottom lash line, and doing my concealer after it just helps clean it up a little bit. And like if I get like raccoon eyes, it just kind of locks it up a little bit, and then I can always go back in and add a little bit more smokiness if it kind of draws too much away. But I'm just going to blend this out. Again, I don't know who the hell I think I am with not using sponges for this, because if you're familiar with my channel, you know I used to always use sponges and that was pretty much it. Now I really hardly ever reach for a makeup sponge. So we're just going to blend this out on both sides, and then I'm just using like tapping slash mini like sweep motions, I guess you could say. It's mostly just tapping the product into my skin though. And then I do drag this right up on the sides of my nose as well. I don't really care if it gets like on the top of my nose. I'm not trying to really contour slash highlight those areas, not until later at least, but even still I kind of just like throw foundation over it, and that's really it. So once my under eyes is blended out, I'll go in and blend out everything else. It doesn't really matter for me which order I do this in. This is just basically to highlight the center of my face. And then I'll go in and lightly tap over these because these spots I want to really conceal. I don't want to be able to see these spots peeking through, even though like 99.9% of the times you could still see them. But that's like the vibe that I go for now with my makeup, is I want my skin to look natural. So I don't know, it doesn't really like break my heart, especially this spot right here. You could probably still see that little dot. I can never cover up that damn thing, no matter how much concealer I put on. I've tried color correcting, still doesn't work. But we just kind of try to mask it, and then we'll put some foundation on over, but we don't use nearly as much foundation as we used to. So once all my concealer's blended out, I'm going to go with my cream bronzer. I know, I never used to use cream bronzers, blushes, or highlights. Now that's like all that I want to put all over my face. So the cream bronzer I've been loving is actually a foundation stick. This is from MakeupRevolution. This is the shade F13. This is such a beautiful bronzy, like it has an orangey tone to it, so if you don't like that you might want to choose a different shade, but for my complexion and what I go for, I love the shade. So this is where I take Scott Barnes's little tricks and I just drag this down just like this. He says not to really like change the shape of your face, which is something that I used to do. I used to always go like, or like suck in my face like a fish, you know, like that. So I try to really just face forward and go right in the normal contours of my face and then just blend it up. And then I'm using my Sephora Airbrush Precise Foundation Brush. I don't know if this is sold individually or not, but I got this in a set like years and years and years ago. And I just really love this because it does have a more precise, I don't know, just like it fits perfectly in the contours of my face. And then I'll just drag this up on the temples of my face just because this is how I like to contour my face in particularly. And then on my forehead especially, I just like to kind of mesh the bronzer with the highlight to give it like a gradient effect, you know? So I'm just going to take this all around the perimeters because we're not really contouring, I don't think. It's more of just bronzing and warming up the skin. I feel like when I do this, I don't even need to really contour with like that neutral or cooler tone shade. Every time I put cool shades on my face, it looks like mud was just thrown all over me. So this is all that I really do with my creams. So again, just keeping the structure of my face, and then I like to do this little round moment. I'm trying to use my viewfinder so I don't have to like keep turning my face, you know? And then I'll just blend it up. I just feel like this gives me like a natural, just glowy, bronzy looking, beautiful skin tone. That's why I've been really loving these cream products because they just make my skin look so much more natural. And I could easily go overboard with powders, and that's all that I really used to use was powders. Now I barely use any. This is another area I try to keep my face straight just to keep the structure of my face, because you don't want to go like this. This is what Scott was saying in him and Tati's second video. You don't want to turn your face and then contour this way because this isn't the way that you're going to be looking most of the time, or you don't want to like go like this. You don't want to change the structure, you know what I mean? So if anything, you want to keep your face straight and carve it out this way. And then once I have it carved out, that's when I'll kind of turn my face just to blend it down because my mirror is over here and not in front of me. So this is where we get to the point I'm like, okay, this is good enough, because I am gonna go over almost everything with foundation, but an extremely light layer of foundation. This is where I really love this Dior AirFlash, because if anything, I could just go over my entire face and spray this and then I would be done. I don't love to do that though, just because it gets in my hair and I have blonde hair. So what I like to do, I'll shake it up and then I'll actually take my Real Technique sponge, which this one here, this is the body complexion sponge, I think it's called. They changed these. I don't know what is different about it, but it's definitely different than it used to be. So I don't really love it as much anymore. I'm super bummed about it, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So what I'll do is I'll just spray some on my sponge, and then I'll just basically go over everything with a really light layer of a foundation shade that's exactly what my skin tone is now, or somewhat close, because I don't feel like any foundation's really the exact same. So that is all that I'm gonna put on that side. Again, really light layers. This is why I really love this foundation, because it gives you a really nice amount of coverage, but it's so freaking skin-like. It's so beautiful. So just 3 little sprays pretty much, and then just go over everything. And this just helps really balance and even everything out for me. I'm sorry if I'm not looking like directly at the camera. I'm trying to look in like all the mirrors that I have all around me and my viewfinder, just to make sure that I'm kind of looking good on all aspects of my face. But this is where I'd be like, okay, everything looks good. Now I'm gonna go over and just blend everything out. And then once I do that, usually I go in with this first, but I found lately I keep reaching for my blush after my foundation. I'll just put a couple little dots here. If you do this before your foundation, you'll still get a similar effect, but it'll almost like wash out the blush a little bit more. That's why I started doing this after. And this is the Charlotte Tilbury, what is it, the Glowgasm Beauty Light Wand in the shade Pinkgasm. I fucking love this. This is like my current favorite cream blush right now, because look at the highlight that it gives. It gives you such a luminous looking, just beautiful skin-like finish. Like, look, it looks so beautiful. It's like you don't even need a highlight with this. So I'll go in with this first, and then sometimes I'll go in with a cream highlight if I'm feeling crazy. But 9 times out of 10, I feel like the cream blush does it for me, especially when I use this one here, because it already gives me that really just lit from within, gives you even like a subtle highlight. So sometimes I don't even need an additional highlight onto that. So now I'll go in with my powders. So 2 powders I've been loving a lot are the Beauty Bakerie Flower Powder. This one I like if I want to look more matte. And then this Hourglass, the Veil Translucent Powder, is so amazing. And I never used to like this for setting my under eye until I changed up my routine. So I'm going to just blend everything out one more time before we set it with powder. And I'm gonna take my Smashbox angled powder brush. This is perfect for underneath the eyes especially, but I could use this all over my face. So I'm going to just set my under eye, and then I even kind of like blend out my lash line just to make everything look a little bit more smoky again, in case we lost any pigmentation under there. So we're just taking a very light amount of powder. Again, this is something I used to dip like my whole sponge. I used to powder the shit out of my face. If you've been following me, you remember I used to have powder everywhere. Now, very, very minimal, and this still is working for me. I have combo skin, and this is still working for me in the summertime. I do look a lot more like dewy throughout the day, but I don't even give a fuck because I think it looks so beautiful and so skin-like. So even like right here, I don't think that I need to go in with any powders, like bronzer, blush, anything. I think I could walk out the door just like this. I'm going to do it today for the sake of the video because that's typically what I do, just to really lock everything in. But if you're not a powder person, this routine alone right here will work perfect for you. So if you're more dry skin, I would say just leave it like this and you'll be good to go. If you're more oily skin, I would proceed on to what I'm going to do next. So now I'm going to go in with my bronzer. I'm going to use my Hourglass Ambient bronzing powder. This is my go-to favorite bronzer of all time. So I'm going to take this on my Crown SS023 Jumbo Kabuki fan. I'm just going to lightly bronze my face because I don't really need that much more. So really light dusting just to really lock everything in, since I don't set my entire face with like a translucent powder anymore. And then I'll even drag this down my neck as well. I've been noticing too a lot more since I've changed up this routine. I've noticed in my comment sections that you guys have been complimenting me a lot more on my complexion as well. So you guys are even noticing the difference too. But I feel like even in like real life, when I wear this out, I still get compliments way more than I used to, just because my skin looks so natural. Like, it doesn't really look like I'm wearing a shit ton of makeup. And that's the vibe that I'm going for right now. So now I'm going to go in with my blush. I'm going to use the Alamar Cosmetics Colorete Blush Trio in the shade Medium Tan. I've been loving this so much. It's very, very pigmented though. I've heard some people say that theirs isn't pigmented. Mine is ridiculously pigmented, so I have to use this Luxie 640 Pro Precision Tapered brush. I love this so much. This is exactly what I do. I just rub it in all 3 shades, tap it off because again, it's very pigmented, and then I just do like a light dusting of the blush all over, and I'm not really precise with it at all. And then I just work with a little bit at a time because again, it's very, very pigmented, at least mine is. And I just throw this all over the cheeks. I think it looks so freaking beautiful. It's more of a matte blush, but again, since I have that like luminous cream blush underneath, it just looks beautiful together. So I really love this. And then I'll even throw some like over the center of my face just to give me like that sunburnt look, you know? So this is exactly what I've been doing for blush, and I've been loving this brush so much for my blush. I used to love the Smashbox Buildable Cheek Brush. I love these brushes so much too, but I've been reaching more for this Luxie one since I've been using this blush specifically. So next up will be highlight. Of course, I've been so obsessed. If you follow me on Instagram, you know how obsessed I am with this lately. This is from Lunar Beauty. This is the shade Venus. These are so fucking beautiful. Like, the formula of these is amazing. They don't emphasize texture at all, and they are beaming. They're so beautiful. I think he did such a good job on these highlight powders, and then the packaging on it is so beautiful. I really, really love these so much. So I'm just gonna go in and do my powder highlight. Again, not something that I need to do, especially if this is like a daytime appropriate look, but we're trying to glow, bitch. So I'm going to throw this all over the high point on my cheekbone. I like to even dust on like right on the front, as like there's less product, because I like it to be like if I'm looking straight, you could still see the highlight. If you have large pores in this area though, be careful because it can like accentuate the pores, you know? And then I'll just throw a little bit on the tip of my nose, Cupid's bow. And then I'll even take a little bit of this as well on a more precise like pencil brush. I like to even put this right in the inner corner of my eye and then right on the like high point of my brow bone, just to give me a little bit more lift. Just look at how beautiful that is. I just feel like doing this really ties everything together, and I like using my face highlight for that. That way it kind of complements throughout my entire face. And then the last thing will be our setting spray. This hasn't changed. I love a setting spray. If you want a more like long lasting setting spray, I would highly recommend the Urban Decay All Nighter. This is still like a go-to for me. Ever since I got this though in my boxy looks, this is the Skin & Co. Roma Truffle Therapy Radiant Dew Refresh Mist. I love the smell of this so much. I have to hold it further away from my face because it does give the bigger droplets, but I just love the whole effect that it gives. So I'm going to just spray this all over this mug. And then I'll even spray it on my chest as well if I'm wearing like a tube top like I am right now. I'm just going to fan off a little bit, and then I'm going to actually take my highlight just so you guys could see the body glow that I've been living for lately. I'm going to put that same highlight right on my collarbone, shoulder. We're just trying to glow this summer, you guys. And then the only thing that this look is missing is a lip. So I'm just going to pop a lip on and then we'll get with the outro. And then this will be the final look and exactly how I get my new complexion routine. So thank you for Samantha Robindahl and Scott Barnes for introducing me to this new way of life. I am so happy with the way that my skin looks. I think it looks so much more youthful. I think this is a very mature skin appropriate routine as well. I really love it. If you guys do try it out, tag me on your Instagrams, send it to me, slide into my DMs. You guys already know. Let me know what you guys think of this if you guys do try it, or if you do videos on it, leave them down below. Let me know your guys' feedback if you like this way or the old way better. I don't know. I've just been loving the way that my skin looks, and I just can't get over this highlight though. But that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys in my next one.